So in this video, I want to talk about holding in the long term and sort of my perspective and what honestly my strategy is right now where I'm currently positioned with what I have. So I'm not against selling. I mean, that's been a very clear thing on this channel that I've always talked about. I'm not against selling at all. Why? Because I've sold previously, and that is how you actually make money, right? At the end of the day, yes, all the stuff you see on paper, if you're, for example, if you bought Destin Rivals at MSRP and now it's $400 or whatever, you're up, what, like 2.5 times your money or something like that. That's just on paper, right? I mean, that's not actual gains until you actually sell it. That's a fact. Obviously, we know in this space, though, selling stuff isn't that much of a problem, especially when you have high demand stuff. But it is true that technically nothing is, actually, money made until you actually sell. So, I am definitely not against selling because what is the point of holding on to this stuff if you're never going to sell it? You hear people saying all the time that I'm going to hold until I'm not here anymore and I'm going to pass it on to my grandkids or whatever. Okay, at that point you're not really much so investing. At that point you might as well just be calling it collecting. So in terms of investing, you have to liquidate at some point. So that's why I'm not against selling. But the reason why I bring up this topic of diamond hands is sort of holding is because of a lesson I've learned previously and just how I've seen the market with Sword and Shield, and why I really plan to hold, especially like Prismatic Evolutions and a lot of these great sets for the long term. Just from my experience, like I said, with Sword and Shield, because I started investing during Sword and Shield. That's when I was buying, at one point I had Evolving Skies, right? That's when I was buying, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars, all those great sets, right? And I was buying those in the low hundreds. So you can only imagine, okay, buying in the low hundreds, and now where they're at, even though we've seen a decline, they're still in the mid to higher hundreds. I'm up anywhere from possibly three, four, five, 6x my money on some of these things, and it's pretty nice, right? And it's shown me something. It's experience really is the best teacher. It's obviously we have to use some sort of assumptions here with the market, which I'll get to, but seeing that, right, and seeing, okay, there was turmoil in the market when I was buying. How many people were saying I shouldn't be buying Sword and Shield? There was so much people not believing, and just a lot of people not thinking that it was going to work, it was going to grow at the same amount, because too many people were doing it apparently back in Sword and Shield. Well, I bought and held. What happened after, right? The boom, this boom. Obviously, this boom definitely accelerated the growth of what we saw with Sword and Shield booster boxes. But in a short period of time, because of that boom, things exponentially grew. And I saw that on paper. I saw that happening. And I did cash out on some stuff, right? So I felt the gains. And now that we are in this, I guess, whatever you want to call it, this downturn on market, crash, whatever terminology you want to use, I feel the same way about, okay, so many people, this is the point where there's less confidence, and so many people that do have paper hands, right, are going to sell. They're going to sell 151, they're going to sell Destiny, they're going to sell Prismatic, they're going to sell whatever the case may be, right? Any Scarlet and Violet, maybe some Sword and Shield. And just, they're going to sell because of the worry of the market. There is a difference, which obviously if you're going to sell to pay off a bill, to sell to make gains and use that for something else, that's a different story. I'm talking about selling because of this market. These are the people that are going to miss out on those gains. And since I've already experienced these gains and I seen the market, how it can quickly change, I'm not going to sell on a whim here just because we've seen a month or a month and a half now of a downturn in the market. I truly believe a lot of these products have a long run in the future, but it's just right now when you're looking online and you're seeing what's going on in the market, you lose confidence. The more honestly you watch people talk about how this market is crashing or seeing a huge pullback or whatever, the more you're going to want to sell. Trust me, I know, because when I was new and I would see all the negativity in the market, it made me want to sell, and that's what a lot of people are doing, honestly. Truthfully, people are selling right now more than buying because people are not believing in the market anymore. But obviously, these people are more in the short term. Which what? If you're making money in your short term, you want to get out, fine, right? No one's forcing you to stay here long term. But the people that see exponential gains do not react to these small things in the market. I'm not. I haven't sold a single thing during this whole month and a half, right? I haven't sold a single thing because I do not care. I am looking at a lot of these products, from a 2 to 3 year time frame. Um, I'm not one of those people that is going to tell you, oh yeah, I'm here for 5, 10, 20 years. I'm not unrealistic, guys. I sell, okay? But I look at a lot of these products from a 2 to 3 year time frame, or mainly when they go out of print, right? I guess that's what I should say. Mainly when things go out of print, that's kind of my time frame to really want to see, okay, where are these gains going? And where I see a lot of these prices at for a lot of these products, Prismatic, Sword and Shield even, Scarlet and Violet, I see a lot of opportunities still. And therefore, why do I care that in the past month, prices have gone down 10, 20%? Why does that affect the 2 to 3 year time frame that I'm looking at? It doesn't. Who cares? Right? And that's my mindset. And that's why, I'm talking about diamond hands here. You have to ignore the negativity, because if you want to see those exponential gains, if you want to see, for example, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but for example, Evolving Skies, diamond hands won. If you bought it $100, which was possible, and now it's gone down a little bit, but it's around like $2,500, you have 25 extra money. You would have not seen any of those, that 25x if you sold when the Sword and Shield market went down. And how much were booster boxes during that time? Maybe 500 or 300, something like that, right? You would not have seen the gains if you sold on a whim because you just heard the market was going down. And many people did sell when it hit 300. Many people did. And this is, I feel like, sort of deja vu. I feel like it's the same thing all over again. Big reaction in the market, negativity, sell. And once, I've talked about this before, once you sell, most likely you will not buy back in. Because if that product goes higher than what you sold at, you're not going to want to spend more. You would have been losing money then, right? Mentally, you don't want to do that. So once you sell, it's done for. And if you sell on, emotions here with what's been going on, you're not going to ever see the exponential returns. Sure, if you've doubled your money, that's still great. But if you do want to see those exponential returns, you have to withstand the market and how things are right now. And that's where I'm at. I've told you guys, I've experienced exponential gains, and I truly believe I'm looking at this at the exact same way. I see it very possible for a lot of these products. And I'm looking at this at like a 2 to 3 year time frame. Obviously, if we see another bull run, right, whenever that happens, that will definitely exponentially, grow the gains of these products, which could happen, right? And that's why diamond hands, eventually, if there's another bull, let's say in a year from now, this market goes down and we do see a big downturn and the market is actually, you could say, I guess done for, right? It's like there's not a lot of demand and you can get products MSRP or below. Let's say, that happens. It could be any point a year or two after that where things just go up out of nowhere. A new game comes out. For example, what happened recently, the TCG Pocket app a year ago, right? A celebrity or something. It could be anything. And prices could shoot up like crazy. And that's why, like I said, diamond hands is going to win at the end of the day if you just hold long term and you don't worry about these short term things. But hey, some people just want to make a quick buck. Nothing wrong with that, right? If you can double your money in a couple months, yeah, that's great. But I'm here for the long term, and I truly believe this stuff has a long way to go. And that's why I'm holding, and I don't care what is going on right now, because I really truly believe there's so much growth to be seen with these products, and I could care less if things even dropped a little bit further. It doesn't affect me at all. So that's what I wanted to share in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know, did you withstand, if you were here, did you withstand all the talks during the Sword and Shield market when most booster boxes were in the low hundreds and everybody was saying, oh, this stuff's never going to go up? Were you guys there for that? Let me know. But that's all I have for you guys in this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.